Hey guys, it's Travis coming at you. This week we've all opted to take a different trans myth. Some of them you guys have thrown out via the Facebook group. Maybe some others people kind of just picked up on their own and decided to speak about. This one I'm going to talk about is trans guys are not real men. I actually just got into it probably about a week or so ago with this guy I was chatting with via text over this exact issue, and he had some pretty close-minded views, which got me pretty riled up. I posted a YouTube video about it, so if you're curious as to my full opinions of that situation, you can go ahead and view those there. But I just kind of want to touch on the myth that trans guys are not real guys. I think it's a stupid notion for people to feel this way. I don't really understand what exactly people think constitutes a real man, whether it be having a physical penis or not having been born with breasts or whatever the case may be. I think it's stupid. I don't think any part of our bodies dominate us or identify us and make us be female or male. I mean, biologically speaking, scientifically speaking, yes, okay, the body that we are born into designates our gender, but I think realistically speaking, that really has no play in our identity. If that was the case, then why would people be confused, be born into the wrong bodies, have mentally be one gender and physically, biologically be a different gender? So I really don't think that scientifically gender should be based off of solely the body that you're put into. I think trans guys are just as much a man as any other man born. If a soldier goes off to war and gets into a IED accident, RPG hits a Humvee, something happens and they lose their member, does that mean that they're no longer a man? Some of the people that I talk to feel that if you weren't born with a penis, you're not a man. Well, then obviously, what happens if you were to lose your penis? Does that mean that you're no longer a man? I often throw that out at people when they talk about, what they think makes a man. You have to have a penis to be a man. I throw out there, what happens to those individuals who suffer some catastrophic incident? They have an accident as a child. They are born, with a deformed member. I mean, I don't know. There's probably a million different things that could happen that would cause one to lose their, genitalia. And no one thinks any less of them as being a man. But yet, because we're born in the opposite body, because we have to go through extra steps to complete ourselves, that automatically gives people grounds to justify to themselves that we are not real men. Frankly, I don't care what people say. I can walk down the street and walk up to 80,000 people and ask them, do you think I was born a man or a woman? And I can pretty much put money down on it that 99.9% of the people that I ask that question to are going to say, man. People don't know. Once you get a year, 2, 3 years into your transition, you have chest surgery, people don't know. No one's going to be able to tell that, you weren't born a man. So, therefore, from that logic alone, how does that make you or us, me, you, anybody, any less of a man as the next guy? We all go through the same things. Granted, most of us go through puberty at a much later stage of life, or better yet, we have to go through it twice. So I guess that sucks for us, and maybe from that standpoint alone, we should automatically gain the title of man from having to suffer through, 2 rounds of puberty. But I don't know, I think it's dumb. I think it's dumb when people try and say that we're not real guys because we don't have penises. You know, I think it's dumb because, you know, that they say we're not real men because we have breasts. I hate to break it to you, but there are men who have a very similar condition which gives them breasts. They very well may be skinny people, skinny guys, but have breasts. You know, it's a medical condition. Fat guys have man boobs. You know, I don't. You know, so basically the physical aspects of our body really shouldn't designate whether or not we're male or not. I think it's just insecurities in those individuals, and like in the case with that guy that I was talking to, he was a gay man who obviously felt an attraction to a trans guy, and because this trans guy did not disclose that he was trans to him up front and right away, things started to get physical, and apparently something happened where said gay man discovered that the guy he was interested in was actually born female, and all of a sudden this freaked him out, and now he thinks that everyone should disclose who they are right up front, which I think is retarded too. But again, like I said, I put a video up about that. But it's just stupid. It's stupid. You know, he's insecure with himself. He feels that, you know, if he's attracted to men, they should have a penis, and if you don't have a penis, then you're not a man. He can't be attracted to you. You know, basically he needs to get a grip on his own sexuality and his own identity, because he's the one with the issue, not us. We're men. We're born men, irregardless of the body that we're born into. We have no control over that, just as supermodels, you know, have basically they're born into this strange society that we live in today, and you think you need to be a 10, and, you know, it's not okay to be fat, and you need to starve yourself, you need to have breast implants and this and that. You know, what's any different in that? Women doing that to make themselves happy than us having to go through, you know, similar surgeries to make ourselves happy. Is that having breast implants, or, you know, getting a facelift or a tummy tuck or butt lift or whatever the hell all these supermodel women do, you know, does that make them any less of women? No. So how does us removing things from our body make us any less of men? Basically, I just think it's dumb. I think anybody that thinks that way is dumb, and it's just getting old. Hearing about it, reading about it, having to deal with people. You know, you would think in today's world, with as much as society has opened, you know, or attempted to open people's eyes to the differences in the gray area between the, you know, standard male-female gender binaries. I think it's just dumb that people are that ignorant in today's day and age. Yeah, so I guess that's it, you know. All you guys out there, you're men, regardless of what stage of your transition you're in, pre-T, post-T, pre-surgery, post-surgery, just starting to figure things out. You know, if you identify as a man, as far as I'm concerned, you're a man. I'm going to respect you as a man, and that's just the bottom line. Hope you guys have a good week, and I will see you next week.